Welcome back to Cheddar, everyone. Joining us now is Gilad Gott, co-founder of TipRanks, a site that evaluates stock recommendations made by Wall Street analysts. Gilad, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, Corey. Hi, it's great to be here.
Yeah, well, we're glad to have you. Just break down for us, for those that maybe aren't familiar with TipRanks, what exactly goes into rating an analyst on Wall Street?
So we analyze big financial data in order to evaluate the recommendations made by the sell-side analysts and other financial experts. It could be financial bloggers, even hedge fund managers. And we look at the actual performance of the ratings that they made. So if an analyst says, for example, you should buy Twitter stock, we look at what happened to Twitter stocks following the recommendations. And we provide a star ranking to these analysts based on the success of the recommendations, based on how profitable it would be for you as an individual investor, as a private investor, to follow their recommendations.
So you are essentially holding these analysts accountable and giving them a performance tracking and a performance ranking here. What are the inputs? I mean, do you get all of the sell side notes? Do you scrape the internet? How do you get the data that goes into this?
So we analyze anything that's publicly available. We're using natural language processing and machine learning techniques. And also we have hundreds of analysts that are sending us their reports directly so we can analyze and update their performance on our website.
Can we focus on one analyst in particular, one who's a friend to our show right here at Cheddar? Mark Mahaney put out a note yesterday about Snap. I know he is an analyst that you guys give a 73% rating to. When he puts out a note, something like a note on Snap, obviously we saw the stock go up at its highs a little above 5% yesterday. What does that do to his rating?
So basically, as soon as he gives a recommendation, his performance is now tied to the behavior of Snapchat. So if the stock price goes up, essentially his recommendation is correct and he gains positive points for this recommendation. If the stock price goes down, then of course it reflects badly on his performance score.
But are there some stocks that hold greater weight than others? I mean, these analysts, they'll cover in terms of like the internet sector, in terms of technology, hardware versus software lines. There must be some stocks that hold greater weight within that measurement than other stocks.
So when we look at the recommendations made by analysts, we analyze it from the perspective of the individual investor. For me, if I see Mark Mahaney in this example give a buy rating on Snapchat, I may buy Snapchat, and if I see him give a recommendation on Microsoft, for example, then I may buy Microsoft, and I don't look at it at different, at the weight of the different stocks or the market cap or anything of the sort. We simulate what would happen for an individual investor if they follow the recommendations made by Mark Mahaney, which is ranked very high, as you say, on our system.
So you guys have raised about $3 million in a Series A funding round. What are the monetization efforts here? I mean, if the average person can look at this, is there a subscription component, an advertising model as well in terms of making money off of the technology that you've implemented?
So essentially when we started TipRanks, one of our main goals was to level the playing fields, to make tools that are today only available to hedge fund managers and buy-side analysts available to individual retail investors at an affordable price point. So all the information that's on the website, like the performance of the analyst, you can get for free. Anytime you come across a recommendation, you can go to tipranks.com, search the name of the analyst or blogger or hedge fund manager and see their performance. And there's also a paywall, basically premium capabilities. For example, if you want to change the way the analysts are ranked, or if you want to see which stocks are most rated by the top performing analysts. These are statistics that are behind a paywall. So it's essentially a premium service, but a lot of the information we give out for free for the sake of empowering the individual investor and leveling the playing fields.
What are some of your highest or most recommended stocks on TipRanks right now?
So right now, if you look at stocks that are recommended by top analysts, on the list you'll have Adobe, you'll have Dave & Buster's, you'll have Home Depot, Micron.
Micron, a big one.
Yeah. So, and this, of course, factors the different recommendations made by 4- and 5-star analysts. And all of this, of course, is available on the TipRanks website.
Okay, and what about the top rated analysts? I mean, we think about like the most publicly known ones. I'm thinking of Adam Parker, I'm thinking of Mark Mahaney, Gene Munster, of course, when he was covering Apple publicly here in the research market. Who are the analysts that are the most highly rated, and which ones don't perform so well?
So the ones that are most highly rated, you can find them on our website in the top 25 section. The number one analyst today is Gerard Cassidy from RBC. Number two is Mark Miller
a bank
from
analyst. Gerard Cassidy, the bank
Yeah,
analyst.
as a financial
from RBC.
sector, exactly, financial sector analyst. And you have Mark Miller from Benchmark and Mark Lipacis from Jefferies. These are all analysts that are ranked at the top today based on their performance, based on all the ratings that they provided since January 2009, which is when we started going back in terms of performance measurements.
So in terms of, I guess, expanding to from here, from a technological standpoint, because that is your specialty, what are the next steps for the company?
So one of the things that we're doing right now, we let people manage their portfolios on the TipRanks platform, and we measure them essentially in the same way that we measure financial analysts and financial bloggers and hedge fund managers. And one of the goals is to turn this into a financial social network that enables people to learn from one another and to share with one another, and also to be able to get an objective third-party validation to their stock picking performance. And this is one of the things that you can do right now on the website, and we're expanding this.
Yeah, well, Gilad, I will say TipRanks, another one of the strong companies coming out. Well, we like to say the Silicon Valley of Israel, out of Tel Aviv. Obviously, Mobileye making very big headlines. Another company out of that same area in the U.S. market with that acquisition that they had just last week. Thank you so much for joining us. Greatly appreciated. Gilad Gad of TipRanks.
Thank you, Corey. Thank you, Kristen.
All right, we still have a little more show left to everyone, but first, the car equipped with its very own drone.